February 25th, 1957. Philadelphia is wrapped in winter's grip. Along a quiet stretch of woods in the Fox Chase neighborhood, a discarded cardboard box sits hidden among the dead leaves. It looks like garbage, something you'd pass without a second glance. But inside is something unimaginable. A small boy, no older than 4, naked, malnourished, his lifeless body curled as if asleep, wrapped in a plaid blanket, placed in a box that once held a bassinet. No name, no ID. No one had reported him missing.
This was the beginning of what would become one of America's longest-running unsolved mysteries. The child, soon to be known only as the boy in the box, captured the nation's attention, not because of who he was, but because no one knew who he was. In the decades that followed, his story would evolve from a local tragedy to a national obsession. With no answers, the mystery deepened. Who was this boy? Who left him here? And why?
The body was discovered not by police, but by a college student out checking animal traps. He was used to finding strange things in the woods, but that day would change his life forever. The box looked ordinary, brown cardboard taped shut. But when the student peeked inside, what he saw froze him in place. A little boy, bruised and lifeless. His hair had been recently and unevenly cut. Clumps still clung to his skin. The location of the box seemed intentional, hidden in plain sight, near a road, but just deep enough in the woods to be missed. Police noted the box had held a bassinet sold at a local J.C. store. The blanket was thin and cheap, common in many households. More disturbingly, the boy's nails were trimmed. His body was clean. It looked like someone had taken care of him, even in death. But who? And why was there still no trace of his identity?
As police launched a full-scale investigation, the mystery only grew darker. The boy's fingerprints were taken. His photo, post-mortem, eyes edited open, was circulated widely. Yet not a single lead led to a name. They searched hospitals, orphanages, adoption agencies, and even scoured immigration records. Nothing. It was as if the child had never existed at all. The autopsy revealed haunting details. The boy had been malnourished. His ribs protruded. There were bruises on his body. A head injury likely caused his death, and scars from what appeared to be previous abuse. But what struck investigators most was that someone had tried to care for him, cut his hair, trimmed his nails. These details painted a chilling contrast. Was he loved or controlled?
One theory suggested the boy had been abducted, possibly held in secret, far from Philadelphia. He may have lived a life in the shadows, only to be discarded once he died. If so, who took him? And why had no one searched for him? The absence of a missing persons report seemed deliberate. This wasn't just neglect. Someone had wanted him to disappear.
Another possibility, he was never reported missing because his birth was never registered. Some believed he may have been born to a young, unwed mother, perhaps kept hidden to avoid shame, scandal, or punishment. And when something went wrong, when the child died, those involved may have panicked. Disposing of the body became an act of desperation, or a way to silence a secret forever. As news of the boy's death spread, the public became captivated and horrified. Newspapers printed sketches of the child. Flyers were stapled to telephone poles. His story was featured on TV and radio. People from all over the country sent in letters, tips, and theories. But none brought police closer to the truth. The boy became known simply as America's unknown child, a nameless face that haunted a generation.
Dozens of theories surfaced. Some thought he was the child of a traveling circus. Others claimed he was abandoned by immigrants trying to hide their illegal status. A few even pointed to a foster home just a mile away, where whispers of abuse had surfaced. Police followed every lead, no matter how wild. They interviewed hundreds, dug through records, even consulted psychics. But time and again, every trail went cold. In 1998, more than 40 years after the discovery, investigators exhumed the boy's body. The goal: extract DNA. Technology had advanced, and for the first time, there was hope that science might do what decades of detective work could not. The DNA was preserved and uploaded to national databases. But years passed. No matches. The boy remained anonymous, until genealogy changed everything.
In 2019, forensic genealogists began to analyze the boy's DNA using public ancestry databases. By comparing distant relatives, they built a family tree backward, generation by generation. And finally, after years of painstaking work, they found him, Joseph Augustus Zarelli. Born in January 1953, his identity had been hidden for more than half a century, but now the world finally knew his name.
The revelation of Joseph's identity shocked the public, but instead of bringing closure, it reignited the mystery. Who were his parents? Why hadn't they reported him missing? What really happened to him between his birth and that lonely box in the woods? Philadelphia police confirmed that both of Joseph's biological parents were dead. One had several other children, yet none had ever come forward. The silence felt intentional and deeply unsettling. Some investigators believe Joseph died as a result of long-term abuse. Others suspect a cover-up within the family, perhaps even help from someone outside it. But with so much time passed, building a criminal case is nearly impossible. No arrests, no confessions, no witnesses. Joseph's name was finally known, but his story, his truth, remains buried in silence.
Joseph Augustus Zarelli was born into a world that failed him. No birthday parties, no school photos, no one to tell his story, until now. We know his name, but do we really know him? He lived for 4 short years, and most of that life is still a mystery. Where he lived, who cared for him, what he loved or feared. All of that is lost, except for one heartbreaking truth. He died alone. For decades, the world called him the boy in the box. Now he has a name, a gravestone bearing his full identity, and a story that refuses to be forgotten. Joseph's case reminds us that behind every mystery is a person, a child in this case, who deserved so much more. And even though justice may never come, remembrance is a kind of justice all its own.
Over the decades, the mystery of the boy in the box seeped into American culture. From true crime books to late-night talk shows, his image became a haunting symbol of a nation's unanswered questions. Journalists revisited the case time and again. YouTube creators, podcast hosts, documentary filmmakers all tried to crack the puzzle, and each time new audiences were drawn into the mystery, compelled by the tragedy of a boy with no name.
But this wasn't just a cold case. It became a symbol of forgotten children, of justice delayed, and the power of collective memory. The story of Joseph Zarelli reminded America that some lives, though short, can echo for generations. The media didn't just report on the case. It helped keep Joseph alive in a way. He became more than a victim. He became a reminder of what happens when we stop looking, stop asking, and stop caring.
Behind the scenes were people who refused to give up, decade after decade. Retired detectives kept files in their basements. Volunteers met quietly to exchange notes. And groups like the VDOC Society, made up of forensic experts and ex-cops, picked up the cold trail again and again. They believed Joseph deserved a name. Not for headlines, but for humanity. It was a moral mission, not just a professional one.
In the end, it was their persistence, combined with modern technology, that gave Joseph back his identity. No killer has been named, no charges filed. But the most important piece of the puzzle was returned, his name. Today, his gravestone no longer reads America's unknown child. It reads Joseph Augustus Zarelli. And because of those who never stopped searching, the world finally knows who he was.